The research station orbited the gas giant Kepler 438b like a metallic moon, its gleaming corridors bustling with scientists from dozens of worlds. Dr. Marcus Reed adjusted his lab coat. As he walked through the xenobiology wing, his boots echoing against the polished floor. The human scientist had been stationed here for 2 years, studying the fascinating biology of various alien species, but nothing had prepared him for his first encounter with Leela. She stood at the observation deck, her forearms gracefully manipulating holographic displays, while her elongated neck craned to study stellar readings. Her skin shimmered with an iridescent quality that shifted from deep purple to silver, depending on the angle of the light. 2 large eyes dominated her angular face, each one capable of independent movement, and her hair moved like liquid mercury, cascading down her shoulders. Marcus approached slowly, not wanting to startle her. Her species, the Villani, were known for their heightened sensitivity to sudden movements and their incredible intelligence. When she noticed him, one eye remained focused on her work, while the other turned to regard him with curiosity. "You are the human xenobiologist," she said, her voice carrying a musical quality that seemed to resonate in harmonics. "I am Leela of the Villani Science Collective. I have read your papers on adaptive evolution in hostile environments. Quite impressive for a species that has barely left its home system." Marcus felt his cheeks flush slightly. The Villani were known for their blunt honesty, but also their genuine appreciation for scientific achievement. "Thank you. I have been eager to meet someone from your collective. Your people's work on quantum biology is revolutionary." Over the following weeks, Marcus and Leela found themselves working together more frequently. Their research complemented each other perfectly, with Marcus's understanding of carbon-based life forms and Leela's expertise in energy-based biological systems. They would spend hours in the lab, analyzing samples and discussing theories that pushed the boundaries of conventional science. What surprised Marcus most was Leela's sense of humor. Despite her species' reputation for being serious and logical, she had a playful side that emerged during their late-night research sessions. She would make observations about human behavior that were both insightful and amusing, often mimicking his expressions with her remarkably flexible features. "Humans are fascinating creatures," she remarked one evening as they analyzed protein structures. "You express emotion through such subtle facial movements. When you concentrate, you furrow your brow and your lips press together. It is quite endearing." Marcus looked up from his microscope to find both of her eyes focused on him, with what he had learned to recognize as amusement. "We are not the only species that shows emotion through physical expression. I have noticed that your skin changes color when you are excited about a discovery. Observant?" She replied, and indeed her skin shifted to a brighter shade of purple. "Perhaps we are not so different after all, despite our obvious physical variations." Their friendship deepened as they discovered shared interests beyond science. Both were fascinated by ancient history and would spend hours discussing the rise and fall of civilizations across the galaxy. Leela shared stories of her homeworld's floating cities, while Marcus described Earth's diverse landscapes and cultures. One evening, as they worked alone in the lab, Leela made a comment that would change everything between them. They had been discussing the complexity of Villani naming conventions, which involved not just sounds, but also electromagnetic frequencies that conveyed deeper meaning about an individual's role in society. "Your human names are so simple," she said with a laugh that sounded like wind chimes. "Just a few syllables with no deeper meaning. My real name carries the history of my lineage, the quantum signature of my birth moment, and my destined role in the collective consciousness." Marcus set down his data pad, intrigued. "What is your real name, then? You have only told me your research designation." Leela's skin flickered through several colors before settling on a deep indigo that he had never seen before. That information is not shared lightly among my people. It would be like sharing one's soul with another being. I understand, Marcus replied, though he felt a pang of disappointment. I did not mean to pry into something so personal. Actually, Leela said, and her voice took on a teasing quality, there is an old Villani tradition. If someone can guess our true name through understanding our essence, they earn the right to know it. In ancient times, warriors would try to guess the names of their opponents to gain power over them. Marcus raised an eyebrow. And what happens if someone guesses correctly? Leela's eyes sparkled with mischief. Well, according to tradition, they would have proven such a deep understanding of the individual that they would be worthy of becoming their life partner. Of course, this is just an old custom. No one takes it seriously anymore. So you are saying that if I guessed your real name, you would have to marry me? Marcus said with a grin. Hypothetically, yes, Leela replied, laughing. But it would be impossible for a human to understand the quantum resonance patterns and electromagnetic signatures that make up a true Villani name. You would need to comprehend not just who I am, but who I was destined to become. Marcus felt a flutter of excitement at the challenge. What if I wanted to try? You are welcome to attempt it, she said, still smiling. But do not expect to succeed. Even other Villani rarely guess correctly without spending decades studying an individual. As the weeks passed, Marcus found himself thinking about Leela's challenge constantly. He began to observe her more closely, noting the subtle changes in her skin color during different emotional states. He studied her work patterns, her preferences, and the way she interacted with other species on the station. But more than that, he found himself falling in love with her, the way she tilted her head when she was thinking deeply, the gentle way she handled delicate specimens, her infectious enthusiasm when they made a breakthrough in their research, the comfortable silences they shared during long experiments. Marcus realized that understanding Leela's true name was not just about accepting a challenge. It was about truly knowing the person who had become the most important being in his life. He began to approach the puzzle not as a scientist trying to crack a code, but as someone who wanted to understand the essence of the woman he loved. The breakthrough came during a particularly intense research session. They had been working on a project involving quantum entanglement in biological systems when Marcus noticed something remarkable. Leela's skin patterns seemed to pulse in rhythm with the quantum fluctuations they were observing. It was as if her very being was synchronized with the fundamental forces of the universe. Your name, Marcus said, suddenly looking up from his instruments. It is not just about your past and present. It is about your connection to quantum reality itself. Leela's eyes widened, both focusing on him with sudden intensity. What do you mean? Your people do not just exist in normal space-time. You exist partially in quantum superposition. Your names reflect your unique quantum signature, your position in the multiverse itself. Marcus stood up and walked to the holographic display, showing the quantum patterns they had been studying. Your name, it would have to incorporate the quantum frequency of your birth, the resonance pattern of your DNA, and... He paused, thinking furiously, the probability wave of your potential futures. Leela's skin had gone completely white, something he had never seen before. Marcus, what are you saying? I am saying that your name is not just a name. It is a mathematical equation that describes your existence across multiple dimensions. It would sound like... Marcus closed his eyes and let his understanding of quantum physics guide him. Aratheln. I'm quantum resonance 7.4 gigahertz. The silence in the lab was deafening. Leela stood, frozen, her skin cycling rapidly through colors Marcus had never seen before. Finally, she spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. How did you know that? Marcus felt his heart skip a beat. I guessed correctly. You guessed correctly. She repeated, and her voice carried a note of wonder and something else that sounded like fear. The old tradition, Marcus said carefully. It was just a joke, right? Leela's skin had settled into a deep golden color that seemed to glow from within. Among my people, when someone speaks our true name, it creates a quantum entanglement between their consciousness and ours. It is not just a tradition, Marcus. It is a physical law of our existence. What does that mean exactly? It means, Leela said, and her voice carried a mixture of joy and terror, that we are now bound together across space and time. In the old days, this was considered the deepest form of marriage possible. Two beings linked at the quantum level, sharing thoughts, emotions, and even lifespan. Marcus felt the weight of what had just happened settling over him. Leela, I had no idea. If you do not want this, if it was truly just a joke, I can find a way to break the connection. Break it, she said, and both her eyes fixed on him with an intensity that made his heart race. Marcus, do you not understand what you have done? You have looked into my soul and seen not just who I am, but who I could become across infinite possibilities. You have proven that love can transcend species-dimensional boundaries and the very fabric of reality itself. She moved closer to him, her forearms reaching out to touch his face gently. I have been waiting my entire life for someone to truly know me. I never believed it would be possible, especially not with someone from another species. But you have done what I thought impossible. So what happens now? Marcus asked, his voice thick with emotion. Now, Leela said, and her skin shifted to a warm pink that seemed to pulse with her heartbeat, we begin a life together that will span dimensions and possibilities. Quantum entanglement will allow us to share experiences, thoughts, and emotions in ways that few beings in the universe ever experience. Marcus reached out to touch her hand, marveling at the weight. Her skin felt warm and electric under his fingers. I love you, Leela. I have loved you since the first day we met. I did not guess your name to win some challenge. I guessed it because I needed to know all of you. I know, she said softly. The quantum connection works both ways. I can feel your emotions, your thoughts. You love me not because of what I am, but because of who I am. That is what makes this bond so special. Over the following days, the other scientists on the station began to notice changes in both Marcus and Leela. They moved with an almost supernatural synchronization, finishing each other's sentences and working together with a precision that seemed impossible. Their research productivity increased dramatically as they were able to share knowledge and insights instantaneously. Dr. Hayes, the station commander, called them into his office 3 days after the name-guessing incident. He was a gruff man with silver hair and penetrating blue eyes, who had seen enough in his years of deep space research to not be easily surprised. I do not know what has happened between you two, he said, looking back and forth between them, but your work output has increased by 300%. You are solving problems that have stumped our best minds for months. Either you have discovered some new form of stimulant or something extraordinary has occurred. Marcus and Leela exchanged glances. Through their quantum connection, they had a brief silent conversation about how much to reveal. We have formed a research partnership that allows us to share knowledge more efficiently, Leela said finally. It is a Villani technique that can be used with compatible individuals. Compatible how? Hayes asked suspiciously. Quantum resonance compatibility, Marcus added. Our brain patterns happen to synchronize in a way that allows for enhanced information sharing. Hayes looked skeptical, but the results spoke for themselves. Whatever you are doing, keep it up. Your work on quantum biology is attracting attention from the Galactic Science Council. They want to fund a full expedition to study the phenomena you have discovered. After leaving Hayes's office, Marcus and Leela walked to their favorite spot on the observation deck. The gas giant below them swirled with storms that stretched across continents, while its moons danced in complex orbital patterns. We are going to have to tell people eventually, Marcus said. The quantum entanglement is not something we can hide forever. I know, Leela replied, but I am concerned about how both our species will react. Humans have never formed this kind of bond with an alien before. My people may see it as a violation of our traditional practices, or they might see it as evolution, Marcus suggested, two species finding a way to connect at the deepest possible level. Is that not what all exploration is about? Finding new ways to understand and connect with the universe. Leela smiled, and her skin shifted to the warm pink that he had learned meant contentment. You always know exactly what to say. I can feel your thoughts and emotions, but you still manage to surprise me. Good, Marcus said, pulling her close. I would hate for our relationship to become predictable. As they stood together, watching the cosmic dance below, Marcus reflected on the incredible journey that had brought them to this moment. He had come to the station to study alien biology, but had discovered something far more profound. He had found love that transcended species and formed a bond that defied the laws of physics as most people understood them. The quantum entanglement had revealed to him that consciousness was not limited by the boundaries of individual minds or even individual species. Love was truly a universal force that could bridge any gap, create any connection, and overcome any obstacle. What are you thinking about? Leela asked, sensing his contemplative mood. I am thinking about how lucky I am, Marcus replied, to have found someone who challenges me, inspires me, and loves me for who I am. To have discovered that the universe is even more amazing and connected than I ever imagined. The universe brought us together, Leela said, across light, years of space through the complexity of quantum mechanics, and despite the differences in our species. That is not luck, Marcus. That is destiny. As they watched the stars wheel overhead, Marcus knew that their story was just beginning. They had found each other against impossible odds and formed a bond that would last across dimensions and lifetimes. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, connected by love and quantum entanglement in ways that few beings in the universe would ever experience. Joke about marriage had become the foundation for a relationship that would redefine what it meant to be connected to another being. And as Marcus looked into Leela's eyes, seeing infinite possibilities reflected there, he knew that guessing her name had been the best decision he had ever made.